Hello, welcome to episode 2 of the series on Introduction to Programming. This video is going to cover variables and the ways that you can make use of them in order to improve your ability to write code. Obviously, we started off with just simply writing stuff to the screen, uh, but of course, that doesn't really give us anything useful. It just simply says, hey, do this thing. Well, what if we want to change it? What we often have to do is we're going to have to come here and we're going to go into our code. And we're going to have to type in, hello world again. And of course, I can run that. And that's useful, but it'd be better if we had a way to record somewhere or store the value so that we can use it later on. And this is what variables are for. So in JavaScript, the way that you would create a variable is you would type var. We're going to give it a name, in this case, x, and we're going to use a equal sign to indicate that we want to assign something to x. Now, this feels backwards based on what I just said. I'm saying, oh, we assign this to x. It is a common convention in most languages that the assignment goes to the left, even though you read it to the right. And you kind of get used to it over time because when you look at this after a while, you really just see this part and you just say, oh, x is this value. And then, of course, instead of me sticking the value in here between the two brackets, I can stick the value x. So we have created a variable. We are now going to make use of our variable. And if I run it, well, nothing really changes because that's what it was. But, if I change this to how are you doing again, and I go and run it, you'll see that it updates here. So that's great that we've now moved it out to a variable. And one of the things that allows us to do is it allows us to put it in twice. And of course, it'll repeat itself out twice. If you want it to output it per line, instead of saying, hey, document, could you please write X? We're going to say, hey, document, can you please write line X? Why is ln referred to as line? Because there's a common convention in a lot of programming that the shorthand simply removes all of the vowels. And so you often will see things that, this is really right line, but you just see ln. And that is a convention that has been used for many, many decades to basically shorthand a lot of the stuff that we write. So again, if I go and run this example now, you will see, oh, apparently it doesn't wrap. That's exciting. So it puts a space in there, but it doesn't actually wrap it around, which is fine for what we're doing, because basically you can see here that it allows us to do it twice. Again, we can do it 3 times. And then, of course, if we want to change what this is, what I can do is I can simply do it, and now it repeats it 3 times with the value that I've assigned to x. So you'll often find that when you're using variables, having useful names and better names is helpful for understanding the code. In this case, we're not doing a lot here, but naming variables is probably one of the hardest things you're going to do. And one of the conventions for naming variables is looking at how we're going to make use of them. So in this case, we are writing the variable to the screen. And a common convention is to call it the output. Now, of course, when I do rename it, I have to update all of the places that make use of it. And that way, when I run it, again, it'll continue to do what it was doing beforehand, because variables hold a value. If you keep x here, because I haven't assigned anything to x, if I go and run this, it's going to spit out kind of a blank thing, and you can see a little error shows up down here because I'm trying to tell it to write x, but I haven't actually defined what x is. And computers don't like to guess. They do pretty much what you tell them to do. And so in this case, if I rename it to output, and I go run this, we should see, hi, this is coding 3 times over. So you come up with a name to describe your variables. They allow you to make use of them multiple times. It makes it easier to change because, again, I can just simply change the value that I'm assigning, and I can run it, and it does it the 3 times that I've told it to. So they're an essential part of programming, and we use them to hold on to values, and we give them names to indicate their usage in a clear manner to somebody who's going to read it. And they give us an easy way to change a value and have that value propagate through the entire program. So have a good day.